Despite being paid millions of pounds, actors don't tend to do anything particularly strenuous or life-threatening, although there are a couple off the top of my head which I wouldn't mind if they did. Stallone! Sylvester Stallone, will you stop making movies? Adrian. Of course, we do need stunt doubles. I don't want the world's most handsome man, George Clooney, getting hurt. Not the face! Anything but the face!
Sexiest Man Alive, 1997.
I'm Cal from What Culture, and here is 10 hilariously obvious stunt doubles who ruined their scenes. Let's start with number 10. The Princess Bride. In the scene where Buttercup pushes the Dread Pirate down the hill thinking he had killed her former love, only to discover that the pirate is himself Wesley in disguise. The princess throws herself down the hill after him. It's painfully obvious that neither of them is the original actors. In fact, it would have probably been more subtle if they had one of the Teletubbies stand in. But what is a little more shocking is that the lady, inverted commas, has a pretty big secret. He's a man. It's the same stunt double. That's what it is. What makes it more obvious, they use stunt and sword expert Bob Anderson to do both parts. The lady in red is actually Bob Anderson. We can only assume that they were working on a very, very tight budget, very much like Bob Anderson's dress. Number 9. Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Admittedly a step up from the dummy infamously used during the payoff of Arnie's iconic scene, "I'll be back." But you weren't, were you, Arnie? Look at this. Unfazed by the problem that the star of the high-speed scene was a mere child, the stunt team cunningly got the full-sized adult double to simply get down and crouch. Maybe the scene should get to the chopper and been cut. Number 8. The Mummy Returns. Clearly not willing to get his luscious locks wet for the crucial scene in which the pair of Tomb Raiders find their bracelet treasure and are confronted by a wart in return of their theft. Brendan Fraser simply opted out of filming this sequence at all. I mean, if they gave him a shower cap, I reckon he would have done it. Number 7. Twilight. Anyone who actually went to see the original Twilight movie would have been surprised at how not incredibly awful it was. Sadly, this wasn't the case for the subsequent ones.
Ask me.
Too weird?
And there were an awful lot of indicators in the original film of where and how sequels would inevitably fail, including, quite comically, the film's portrayal of the rubbish emo vampire's magical powers. I don't know, was Paul Daniels in this? He's got magical powers, isn't he? The sequence is laughably rubbish with some terrible CGI. I know, Paul, that wasn't magic, and we didn't like it. Not a lot. Until you see the two imposters pretending to be teen darlings Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson running through the blurry trees. Why they couldn't extend the CGI budget to blur out the stunt doubles' faces, or just not have one of them facing the camera. That's not Kristen Stewart. Clearly, she's smiling.
Why can't you see how perfectly happy I am?
Number 6. Point Break. Who's that cuddling to Patrick Swayze's back? Well, it certainly isn't co-star Keanu Reeves, who has an entirely different face to this cone-headed character. Clearly unimpressed with the idea of flinging himself out of a plane without a parachute, Reeves wimped out and left it to the trained professional, which is arguably a wise move. The trained professional, comically, was unable to hide the fact he wasn't in fact the future star of The Matrix. Maybe if he had an early outing of the long leather jacket and sunglasses, it would have been easier to disguise a double. No, you're right, it wouldn't. Number 5. Tremors. This wonderfully energetic still comes from the excellent Tremors, and on not very close inspection features a charlatan posing as Kevin Bacon. While he has the loose hips and gangly legs of Footloose era Bacon down to a T, his face needs some work, and we know, look at Kevin's face. He's definitely, probably, I don't know if he's had any work or not. And the costume director clearly put his badly made wig on backwards before sending him out to complete a dangerous looking slight jump through the air that was obviously well beyond Bacon's own limitations as an actor. I mean, come on, he does mobile network adverts now. Badly. Number 4. Star Trek The Next Generation. Star Trek fans know a greater sorrow than finding out Father Christmas, the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy don't exist. So Patrick Stewart doesn't do all of his own stunts. Dun dun dun! And isn't in fact the demigod he presented himself as during his time at the helm of Starfleet's iconic flagship. As if to stick the knife in, this still captures the charlatan who clearly shaved off the top of his head, admittedly an impressive commitment, delivering a right hook to a skunk-headed assailant's chin. Now that is some Stewart skills. But you get the idea.
Her buttons are the best.
Number 3. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If proof were ever needed that Sarah Michelle Gellar was perfectly cut out to be the lead role in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it can be found in her spectacular failure to do anything else of any note since the show ended.
Where am I?
She was wonderfully suited to the role, combining sass and sexiness with a killer edge that made mincemeat out of vampires and demons in a Hellmouth hometown. Except she didn't. I mean, if she did do that, we could have sent her back to Twilight, and maybe we could have been only doing 9. As a number of scandalous images on the net prove, Gala didn't so much as lift a finger in the real combat scenes, relying on stunt doubles who looked nothing like her to kick in demon tail. Now that has ruined a load of teenage years. Here we go, number 2, Moonraker. In the woefully overrated Moonraker, Bond and iconic villain Jaws leap into the sky, along with a mustached second villain, and only 2 parachutes between them. Bond wrestles with the mustache man in midair, steals his chute and kicks him in the chops to his death, before surprisingly aerodynamic Jaws swoops in and tackles him, attempting to bite his leg like the devil he is. However, it's painfully obvious that the flying man is not Jaws at all, and that he appears to have Bugs Bunny's teeth in, not Jaws's. If that wasn't enough, there's an equally convincing shot of Roger Moore from the same sequence, or Martin Grace as he's better known. He looks more like Charlie Bucket from Willy Wonka, not 007. We've made it, we're at number 1, Star Trek The Original Series. In the years since Star Trek The Original Series was cancelled, some aspects of the show have become running jokes, like this hilariously bad choreographed fight scene. But beyond all else, the biggest joke of the original series was the frequency of stunt doubles appearing very obviously in any combat scene, without so much as the courtesy to attempt to hide their identities by the film crew. They didn't try, not one bit. I mean, look at that! Did we miss any out? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.